God often does his best work with the least promising of materials. What do I mean by that? Well, consider King David. David is one of the most significant people in the Bible. When David was a teenager, Saul and the Israelites and the Philistines were facing each other in battle. It was a tradition that each side could send out a champion to fight for their side, and the winner of the Battle of Champions would determine the winner of the overall battle. For 40 days, the Philistines had sent out Goliath to challenge the Israelites, but no Israeli volunteered. Goliath was truly a giant of a man. No one could survive a strike of the sword from Goliath. Then David volunteered to challenge Goliath, assuring Saul that he could defeat him. Saul thought about this and agreed, and he offered David his armor, which David refused. Then David, armed only with his sling, which was the weapon of a shepherd boy, struck Goliath, killing him. It was a true act of bravery for a young boy, a teenager, to face such a giant of a man. David grew up to be the most honored king of Israel. He was the builder of an empire, a great leader to his people, and the root from which Jesus would come. He was a mighty warrior, a skilled musician, a poet, a devoted lover of God, and for the most part, a just and able king. However, at the same time, David was a liar, a cheat, an adulterer, cruel, and a murderer. With Bathsheba, he stole another man's wife and was a terrible father and a worse husband. Now consider Matthew. Matthew was a publican, that's a tax collector for the Romans. As such, he was considered by the Jews to be a collaborator and a thief and a traitor. Matthew sat at the gate entering Capernaum, and when people would approach to enter, Matthew would collect money from them. Publicans often humiliated these people as they entered the city and took as much money from them as possible. A publican's pay was a portion of what they collected, and they commonly stole money in addition to the taxes from the people. Matthew sold out his fellow Jews to gain wealth and power. Now, Jesus saw Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth and simply said to him, "Follow me." He was instantaneously converted to a devoted disciple of Jesus and went on to preach the gospel to the Jews and the Judeans all over the world. Now, consider Peter, or Simon Peter, as Jesus called him. He proclaimed Jesus was the rock upon which he built his ministry and changed the world. Peter was a successful fisherman and a charismatic leader, but he was also crude and had only a basic education. He was argumentative and often questioned and disagreed with Jesus, challenging his decisions. 3 times Peter denied knowing Jesus when the authorities questioned him. As we learn in the Bible, these men were in fact great leaders, but they were also humans with flaws and sins, as we all have. Why would God choose these men to lead his ministry on earth? Well, it does seem that God often does his best work with the least promising of materials, as exemplified by David, Matthew, and Peter. It was their love of God and commitment to him that allowed these men to achieve great things. Jesus offers every one of us the same opportunity to transform our lives for the better and to share the good news of salvation through Jesus Christ.